Well, hello lovelies, how I have missed you. I am so excited to be back. This is the first video I am filming after getting back from vacation. As you can tell, I got a little sun and I am excited to do another BYOP with you today. Now, if you are new to this series, my friend Kara from Beauty and the Frizz and I created this series to really help us get some more use out of our single shadows. If you are a single shadow lover, user, collector, you know that a lot of times we can buy the pretty things, enjoy swatching them, you have fun organizing them in your single palettes, and then sometimes they get forgotten. So we wanted to make sure to get a boost of creativity and get more use out of our single shadow. So that's what we're gonna be here to celebrate today. Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. But today's video is all about the Pantone color of the year. This year's shade is Viva Magenta. I'm gonna pop a picture of it up right here. So what I did for this palette is I found a shade in my collection that I think is almost a dead ringer and just sort of created a palette around that color. So I really didn't want a monochromatic palette necessarily, but I wanted something that was definitely inspired by the shade and included a few colors that I think just pair very beautifully with it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a little bit of a peek at this palette. Oh, I kind of like readjusted everything to get some swatches. So you can see here, this is my palette, and I'm gonna just start off very quickly by showing you this first shade, which was sort of my inspiration. So this shadow right here is Ilithyia from Divina Cosmetics, and I'll be zooming you in just a moment here. But this is definitely the shade that I thought like, wow, if we can have this picture right here, I was like, this is pretty darn close. It might not be exact, but it's very, very close. And so this was sort of like the cornerstone of this palette, if you will. And then as I was drawing out other colors in my collection, the first two or maybe even three that caught my eye were other Divina shades. So I decided, you know what? For the first time ever in this BYOP series, I'm gonna do a brand exclusive palette. So all of the shades in here are Divina shades. Now I will let you know right up front, I have received PR from Divina. I do have a code with them. It's Keep Beauty Real. It's not affiliated. I would say half of these have been purchased and half of them have been gifted. I'll be honest, I don't know which ones are which, but I just wanted to be upfront about that right now. So if you do decide to purchase any of these shades, you can use my code to save some money. I don't get any kickbacks from it. I just love this brand and I had to share some of my favorites with you and some that I think make a very beautiful palette around the Pantone color of the year. All right, we're gonna zoom in a little bit so that I can show you these shades. Now, I am doing it a little bit differently today just because I loved this color story so much that I wanted to film some pretty swatches for Instagram. So I'm gonna show you the pans, do some finger swatches, and then I'm gonna show you the set of swatches that I've already pre-filmed. I thought we would do two looks with this palette just because I feel like it has a lot of ways that you could go. Maybe I'll do something that's more like monochromatic on one side and then something that pulls in some of the other colors. I don't know, we're gonna see how this goes, but I hope you enjoy this one. If you do enjoy single shadows as much as I do, if you're excited to see this one, don't forget to like this. We're gonna get into this right now. All right, so again, starting off with our cornerstone shade, this again is Ilithyia, and again, these are all from Divina Cosmetics. I'm only gonna say that once to try to not to be so repetitive, but here is the finger swatch of this shade. I think that this is such a very close shade to the true Viva Magenta. This is so pretty. It's, to me, this shade, and I've got the picture here so I can like almost refer to it. To me, I don't know, in my personal opinion, I think that magenta leans a little bit brighter than what this Pantone shade looks like. But I mean, there are probably a lot of different versions of magenta. To me, a magenta is like a pink meets red with like a little bit of like a dash of berry to it. And I do think this one is very, very close to that. It's not red, it's not pink, but it is very beautiful. So again, after this shade, I just went with shades that were complementary, ones that sort of like take a little dash from the shade, but ones that weren't all necessarily like all magenta all the time, especially because I feel like pink shades are something that people either really love or tend to stray away from, and I wanted something that I felt like would be very flattering and something that you could have a lot of fun with. So again, before I dive into the rest of these shades, I will give you just a little up close look. Of course, it's going to be a little hard to see with the lights. These two are definitely not showing their magic yet, but this is what I chose. All right, this next shade is one that I needed to include. You know that I always love to have at least one, if not two, inner corner options, and this one I thought was really beautiful. This is Aylin. This is one of the Halo Moons from Divina. Again, it's one of those like almost iridescent shades. All right, I just turned down my center light there just so you can hopefully see a bit more of the shift of Aylin. It's so interesting because most of what you see in this shade is like a, I would say, a pink to almost yellow flip. But when I was taking photos of the swatches, I definitely found actually like a green, almost like slightly blue-green shift to it. So that was really fun. This is a very pretty shade. It works great as a topper over like a black color, a gray color. You could use it as a beautiful inner corner. You could use it all over the lid. It's a beautiful one, and I definitely had to put it in here. I think that I've gotten a decent amount of use out of the shade actually, because I was like, wow, she's got a pretty good dip in her. So that was definitely one that I wanted to include. Now we're moving into the other side of the spectrum. If you know me, you know that I really try to have not only tonal differences, but depth differences, because I personally love a palette that has an option for very high contrast looks. So I like to have light shades and very deep shades. And this is one that I actually haven't used yet. This is the shade Grunge. And I bought this when I got the Winter of the Wicked bundle from the brand. That just came out this winter, and this is not a new shade, but I was surprised that I didn't actually have the shade. So to me, it's like a charcoal meets black. It's not quite black, but it really has some beautiful depth to it. And this almost has, when I look at it, like a little bit of a blue-green base to it. Like you would probably not necessarily think that, but when I look at it, you know how blacks always have some sort of an undertone, so to me grays do as well, and this really has that just slightly green-blue base to it. I mean, I'm just gonna shove it all over the back of my hand here. Yeah, see, it's got a little bit of that like blue-green. That is one that I thought would work really well as like a, not black, but with some of these other shades in here, it would create a beautiful smoky eye, but you could also use it as a liner, you know, all of the different options that you have here. Now, this is a shade that is not new to me by any means. It is one that I have known and loved from the brand for a long time. This is the shade Cygnus. You can probably see it has like a warm copper into this beautiful pink flip. Probably even see it. Yeah, look at that right there. It's so pretty. Like, oh, this again is such a stunner. I love the shade. I think that Divina is really known for the shades that have a bit of flip along with a bit of sparkle, but I do really love a shade that just is like a nice smooth shift, and this is one that they do super, super well. So that is one that I wanted to include here. I think it would go really well with the Ilithyia shade, so that sort of like Viva Magenta vibe, but it definitely has a little bit more of a fun shift. So that was one that I was excited to pop in here. I have probably used that shade in another BYOP at some point, but I just can't help myself. So here we have another matte shade, and this is definitely in the bright world. This is Tessa, and I love this shade. This is like this beautiful, like radioactive Barbie pink shade. It's just beautiful. I think it's going to be beautiful to use to blend out the Ilithyia shade. Tessa makes a beautiful inner corner. If you are someone that likes a fun, like pop of inner corner shade, I have definitely done that with the shade, and it is beautiful. So now we're going to start moving into some of the contrasting complementary shades. So to be able to complement something that's in more of that like warm pinky red zone, I like to have something that is more of like a blue green. I just think that they go really beautifully together. This is one that I love because you could use it as a lid shade, but it also makes a gorgeous inner corner shade. So this is Everlasting Gobstoppers, and you can see here it has a really pretty flip to it. Hopefully you're able to see that. You'll definitely be able to see it in the arm swatches, I think. But this is like a good combo of a blue and a green, and you know, again, this is one that you can sheer out. It actually has like a bit of a purple to it too. So you've got blue, green, and purple there, almost like a bit of like a periwinkle vibe to it. So fun. I really love this one. It's definitely one that like I think once it's on, like, oh, it's just vibrant, and it does have a beautiful shimmer to it, but it's not like glittery. This is a fun one. All right, so here we have another new to me matte shade. This is the shade Elara, and this one actually came out this holiday season. So it was in the, let me just double check the name of that set. So it was in the Sleigh Bells Ring little bundle that the brand did, and I think that this one is really pretty. So you can see it's this, I would personally call this like a desaturated red berry. Now, I'm also gonna be honest, when I got this and swatched it, I looked at the pictures on the brand's Instagram and I was like, this doesn't look quite as red. In the current pictures on their Instagram and on the website, it looks like very close to a more like true red, not quite a true red, but much closer than this. So I actually did reach out to the brand just to double check that this was the right shade, and they said that they needed to update the swatches because they weren't quite true to color. And I will say, I feel like they're definitely not. I think that this is a very pretty shade. I did not buy it looking for like a red. I just bought it because I know that I love Divina mattes. I think that I'm actually going to enjoy this and use it much more than a true red. But for anyone that's looking for like a red, I just wanted to let you know that this isn't a red by any means, but it is very pretty, and I think it's gonna show the softer side of that Viva Magenta vibe and also work really well with some of these blue greens that we have in here. So I'm excited to try this one out. So let's see, do we have 2 in here? Yeah, 2 shades in here that I've never used. So we'll definitely have to make sure to use both of the new to me shades in looks that we create today. So one that is not new to me is the shade Zombie. Now this is technically what I like to say as Zombie Reborn. There was like the OG Zombie, this is the newer Zombie. I do have both the original Divina Zombie shade and this Zombie Reborn shade. This is the one that is available now. It is very pretty. It definitely leans more into the like blue and almost like a little bit of purple vibe here. And I thought that this would be a good one to pair with that Ilithyia or Viva Magenta shade. It's just such a pretty shade, and it has a lot of depth to it because it has a lot of sparkle to it. It has some shift to it. It's like deep and grungy while also being magical and sparkly. So it's a very pretty one. Okay, on the other side of that spectrum, we have this shade. This is Soul Laze, and this is one of the new Velvet Multi-Chrome formula. I fell in love with this formula. I'm telling you, it is like a sleeper. It is a sleeper. This is so magical. This has this, really, it is almost like a magenta into peach, into gold. It is just gorgeous. These are like the smoothest, most velvety feeling multi-chrome shade. They're just so pretty. They work well as toppers. They work well as inner corners. I think that they are beautiful and magical, and I thought that this gives a bit of that magenta vibe with a bit of extra something in that shift. So I really do love this one. Soul Laze is from the Phantom Orbs collection, as is this last shade. This is Nocturne Ash, and I just had to include this one because it has just that like bit of a flash of something that I feel like has a little bit of that magenta vibe, but it definitely leans a little bit more into like the blue and purple world. It's such a fun shade. This is one that I would not have picked out for myself, I don't think, but it is one that I'm very glad to have. It's like, it's sort of like a rainbow. I would say that it is very close to like a rainbow of shades, and I'm hoping that you will be able to see that here. Let me see if I can like, I mean, it's like pastel oil slick. It's so freaking pretty. I love this one. I think that this is one of those shades that could like go well in just about any palette, and I'm excited to have it in this one. Okay, now for the fun part. We're about ready to get into some looks, but before that, I do want to show you those swatches on my arm that I did, so I'm going to show you those right now, and then we're going to get into the looks. Starting at my wrist, we have Ilithyia, Aylin, Grunge, Cygnus, Tessa, Everlasting Gobstoppers, Elara, Zombie, and then we have Soul Laze, and our final shade in the Viva Magenta palette is Nocturne Ash. Okay, so for our 2 looks, I think what I'm gonna do is one look that is a little bit more monochromatic and definitely leans into that Viva Magenta vibe. Like, you definitely know that's what we're going for with one look. And then on the other one, I wanted to have a little bit of that vibe, but to use some of these other fun shades. That's gonna be the goal here. I've been trying to go back and forth between like talk through and then ones that are just like quickie little like show and tell kind of vibes, if you know what I'm saying. And the last one, I think I did a talk through, but I would like to do 2 looks with this palette. And so we're gonna do something that's a little bit more sped up. Please let me know in the comments down below which you prefer, if you really care, if you like kind of changing around a little bit. Also, let me know how you feel about the finger swatches and then just the arm swatches afterwards. I think maybe coming back from vacation just sort of like put me into a creative mode, and I kind of wanted to try something different. So let me know if you like that, or if you just prefer that I like do live swatches for you. let me know. I'll do whatever you guys enjoy, or if you'd like me kind of going back and forth, that's cool too. All right, let's get into this more monochromatic look and then we'll have a little fun here. I'm not sure where I'm going with either of these looks.
It's the end of the weekend, but I still wanna turn up. Yeah, I still wanna turn up. All I want is to go again, but you ain't picking your phone up. Why you messing my head up? Any night, any day, let me take you away. All I need is just saying yeah, 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 yeah. Better nights, better days, when you're here with me, babe. Cause you're all that I crave, so I wonder, where are you? Don't hide away from me when I need you most. We got love guaranteed, and I have to know, say, where are you? Don't be so hard to reach, just pick up your phone. Tell me where you'll be, cause I gotta know. Let me know when you're ready, cause I made reservations. Too many invitations, and the last night was heavy. I need communication. Tell me where's your location. Used to talk 24/7 every other.
This is a very pretty look, in my opinion. It's very pink. It's very pink, but I think that it is very pretty. It's very Viva Magenta, in my opinion. Now, I will say I definitely had to make good use of a naked brush because, whoa, that got pretty intense as I was going through. So if I had to do it again, I would probably stop the matte just a little lower and then blur it out a bit more so it wasn't quite so like, whoa, but it looks great. I like it. And as you can see, these Divina mattes are very pigmented. They're very buildable. They are softer. So sometimes in swatches, they just don't look as pigmented, but as you build them up, they really work out beautifully. And I think that they blend out just superbly. So now we're gonna move into the other look. Again, I'm just gonna like kind of have some fun with it, add a little bit more color. Well, this is a lot of color. Add some different colors to this side. Hope you've enjoyed so far.
Holding back, I got history. Yeah, yeah. But the way you've been crossing the line, oh, it's something in me that says it's fine. Hoping you wouldn't change me. Got the same old thoughts, be my referee. I will be alright. Never cut it right, but somehow you make me change. Like I'm better off with you. Like I'm better off with you. Kinda used to these battlegrounds where you flee, you don't stick around, no. But the way you've been giving me time,
All right, here we have the second look. I love this. I think that the combo of that smoky gray with the blue tone and this beautiful shift on the inside, I think it still gives a little bit of that Viva Magenta vibe. Not quite as much as this, but it still kind of draws it in. So I really do like this. Let's see, I think, let me pull out the palette. By the way, as I'm like going through everything that's over here, all I did was I added a little bit of the Blush Peony palette from Wayne Goss. This is beautiful. I think that it works really well. It's just enough of a pink that it kind of like ties everything without being like too overly pink. And then of course that beautiful like slightly shifty highlight I think is a really great combo. So, okay, as I was telling you about the blush that I put on, I realized, oh, I don't actually have any lip on. So I just went through and mixed a couple shades from ColourPop. Where did I just set those? So these are in my Shop My Stash right now. This is the shade Lock Diary. It's an ultra satin. And then this is a lippy stick and this is the shade Lumiere. So the combo of the two just made something that I thought worked really well. Lumiere was a little bit too cool toned and this was like gonna be a little too bright for what I wanted today. So I think that this is perfect and I love both of these eye looks. And I have to say, I really enjoyed the two new shades that I featured in here. The Grunge, that's that gray shade. And then I've already forgotten what this one is called. Elara, that's that shade. I didn't use it in like an extreme way, but it is what I blended out my inner lid with here. And then I ran it along the lower lash line here. So while it's not a red, it is a beautiful shade. And of course, Ilithyia just makes the most beautiful Viva Magenta tribute. I really love this palette. You'll have to let me know what you think. And I'm excited that I was able to use every single shade in this palette. I'm kind of impressed. And I think that both looks came out fairly cohesive. So I did really enjoy getting to do this one. Again, I missed you all so much. It's great to be back in the swing of things. I'm not sure how many videos I'm going to have coming up like directly in the future, just because obviously you get back from vacation and you tend to like just hit the ground running with work and all the other things. Early this morning, I went to the grocery store. Our fridge was looking pretty empty, did all the laundry, all of those things. So now it's time to get back in the swing of work and everything else. And also right now, as I'm sitting here, I feel like I'm like doing this because I still have sea legs from being on a ship for 12 days. And it's a little weird having motion sickness off the ship and not having motion sickness on the ship. At any rate, I do also want to let you know that I am going to be putting together a little like travel vlog info about our vacation kind of thing if you're interested in that. So make sure you're subscribed if you're not already to be able to see that in the future. Now, I do also want to say, I'm not sure what we're doing next month yet. I just sent out a message to the other creators that are doing this. I will, of course, have everyone else, speaking of creators that are doing this, linked down in the description box. I know for sure Kara will be doing this one. I'm sure that there are going to be a couple other people. I'm not sure if Lock Maiden is going to be diving in on this one, and I haven't talked to Kendra either, but whoever else is hopping in on this, I will make sure to have them linked down in the description box. If you are a creator and you want to join, please feel free at any time. It is a very like, do it when you want, pass on it when you don't, low pressure situation. But if you do, I would love for you to let me know so that I can link your video down below. And at whatever point we've chatted about what we're going to be doing next month, I'll probably just like pop in a little text here to let you know. We're a little behind. It's been a very busy season. But of course, as always, we hope that you get inspired by this BYOP series. It is just really a fun way to get creative and get some use out of the single shadows that you have. And if you're coming over from someone else's channel and you're not subscribed yet, I would love to have you here as part of the fam. I do really enjoy getting to interact with all of you. So if you're new, leave a comment down below and I'd love to say hi. So I hope you're all having a wonderful, hopefully end of winter. Come on, spring, here we go. I don't know about all of you, but I am ready for spring. I do love winter makeup, but I am so ready for spring. I feel like these sort of like tip that boundary between like winter and spring, and I'm ready to get going here. So I hope you did enjoy today. Thank you so much, lovelies. Don't forget to give this video a like, and I will see you really soon.